Jazz, funk, and fusion. These are the styles that bring together the sophistication of jazz, with the groove of funk, the color of soul, and the experimentation of fusion. If you've ever tapped your foot to Herbie Hancock's Chameleon, or found yourself lost in one of Weather Report's jams, you'll know exactly why this corner of jazz is so infectious. In today's video, I want to share 5 jazz, funk, and fusion albums that have been living in my rotation recently. These are albums that I personally love, records you may not have stumbled across, but ones that I think deserve a spot in your collection or maybe one of your playlists. So whether you're deep into the genre or just dipping your toes in, I hope these recommendations give you something fresh and inspiring to listen to. Album number 1, Bennie Maupin, Slow Traffic to the Right. Let's start with an artist who's a legend in his own right, but often remains in the background compared to his competitors. Bennie Maupin. Maupin played reeds on Bitches Brew and was a core member of Herbie Hancock's Mawandishi and Headhunters groups. So already you know he's no stranger to pushing boundaries. Slow Traffic to the Right came out in 1977 on Mercury. And what I love about this album is how it straddles the line between the earthy funk grooves of the mid-70s and a more spacious, almost cosmic atmosphere. My go-to tracks are It Remains to Be Seen and Quasar. It Remains to Be Seen is built around a hypnotic groove. It's steady, almost meditative, but the layers Maupin puts over it are full of colour and tension. Quasar, on the other hand, really leans into that space jazz vibe. It's got this floating, futuristic sound that feels like a soundtrack for exploring a different galaxy. But the funk rhythm underneath keeps it grounded. What I really appreciate about Maupin is that his playing isn't flashy for the sake of it. It's textured, thoughtful, and it really draws you into the soundscape. This record is a gem if you enjoy atmosphere as much as groove. Album number 2 is Urbie Green, The Fox. Next up, we move to CTI Records, a label that defined the polished jazz funk sound of the 70s. And here's a slightly unexpected name, trombonist Urbie Green, with his 1976 album, The Fox. Now, CTI albums are known for their lush production, often featuring strings, electric pianos, and a slickness that some jazz purists didn't love at the time. But for listeners today, that sound feels iconic. It's jazz that isn't afraid to be accessible. Urbie Green's trombone is just gorgeous. Warm, smooth, and incredibly lyrical. The standout tracks for me are Mertensia and Foxglove Suite. Mertensia is like the perfect soundtrack to a late-night city drive. Relaxed, soulful, but with just enough groove to keep your head moving. Foxglove Suite is more ambitious, showing how Green could stretch out in longer forms without losing that elegance. This album is one I reach for when I want something sophisticated but not overly demanding. It's smooth jazz funk, but with real substance behind it. Before we dive into the next 3 albums, if you're enjoying this journey into jazz, funk, and fusion, be sure to click the like button and click the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. It really helps to support the channel and lets me keep making videos just like this for you. The 3rd album is going to be Calvin Keys, Proceed with Caution. Let's change gears now and head over to the Black Jazz label, one of the most fascinating imprints in jazz history. Active mainly in the early to mid-70s, Black Jazz championed African-American artists and often leaned into socially conscious and experimental territory. One of their finest releases is Proceed with Caution by Calvin Keys from 1974. Keys is a guitarist with a deeply soulful touch, and this album has a grittier, rawer feel compared to the glossy CTI sound. My favourite tracks are Trade Winds and Aunt Lovey. Trade Winds is hypnotic, almost trance-like, with a rhythmic flow that pulls you in and doesn't let go. Aunt Lovey is the opposite, funky, playful, and bursting with energy. You can hear Keys's personality in every note, and there's this sense of freedom in his playing that's really infectious. Whenever I put this record on, I feel like I'm stepping into a different world, one that's less polished, more intimate, and closer to the streets. It's an essential listen if you want to explore the deeper cuts of the jazz funk world. The fourth album is going to be Art Farmer, Something You Got. From the grit of black jazz, let's swing back to CTI, this time with Art Farmer's Something You Got from 1977. Farmer was primarily known for his lyrical trumpet and flugelhorn playing, often in more straight-ahead jazz settings. But here he steps into the jazz funk territory without losing his elegance. Two tracks that stand out for me: Flute Song and Hombre del Sol. Flute Song has this beautiful floating quality. It's delicate and shows how CTI were able to blend jazz with this kind of cinematic, mood-driven approach. Hombre del Sol, on the other hand, feels warm and sunny, but with a subtle funk undertone. It's a track that makes you think of summer evenings and open spaces. What I love about Farmer's approach on this record is that he doesn't force himself to sound funky. Instead, he brings his own voice into the setting and it works beautifully. It's jazz funk through a more lyrical, poetic lens. Album number 5, The Crusaders, Chain Reaction. We can't talk about jazz funk and fusion without mentioning The Crusaders. Their 1975 album, Chain Reaction, is fantastic. A perfect example of how to balance accessibility with depth. The title track, Chain Reaction, is tight, groovy, and instantly engaging. The kind of track that makes you want to move. Hallucinate, though, is where things get a little bit more exploratory, with a trippy, atmospheric quality that shows their fusion side. What I really admire about the Crusaders is their ability to keep things polished without ever losing the grit. They were consummate musicians, but they never forgot the importance of groove and feel. This album in particular is one I will often recommend to people who are new to the genre, because it's both easy to enjoy and deeply rewarding upon repeat listens. So there you have it, 5 jazz, funk and fusion albums that I think deserve a place in your jazz listening journey. From the cosmic tones of Bennie Maupin to the CTI elegance of Urbie Green and Art Farmer, the raw intensity of Calvin Keys, and the polished brilliance of the Crusaders. Each one of these records shines a light on what jazz, funk, and fusion can be. Be sure to drop a comment below letting me know of any jazz, funk, and fusion albums that you really enjoy listening to. Also, don't forget to click the like button and click the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. If you want to continue hanging out with me here on the Jazz Inspires YouTube channel, I'll put a link in the corner to another video that you can click on now. Other than that, keep listening and I'll see you in the next one.